Hi guys, so we're back at home training. This video, we're looking at the body movements of when you're laying flat on your back, playing guard. These may even come across slightly boring at the start. When you first see them, like, yeah, I've seen most of those and that's nothing new, but there is a lot to it when you start to look at it in the details of it. And I think it'll be great value for everybody to practice this at home. This video we're doing in the adults class as well. These movements, after coaching for so long, the longer I coach, the more value I put on these movements. You need to be able to do these movements. And you need to be very aware of firstly how to perform them correctly and when to do it. So when we're practicing these at home, don't just practice them like it's a workout and just go, I'm going to do 10 and just do 10 without thinking about when you're going to use them. So visualizing, an imaginary friend while you're doing these movements in your room or out in the backyard or wherever you can find some space. If you're lucky enough to have a training partner, you can drill these movements with them as well. But the value on these movements they will serve you forever. You'll never be at your full potential of jiu-jitsu until you know and understand all these fundamental movements of laying on your back in this supine position. So let's get started. Firstly is one that you've all heard of, is pummeling the feet. So I'll show you why to use this movement, when to use it, and this will be one example, and there'll be many more examples you could use, but I'll just give you one, and then how to practice it by yourself. And then if you're lucky enough to have someone to train with, you can practice it with them as well. So the first one is pummeling the feet. So if I'm here with Ruby and I'm laying on my back, playing guard, and Ruby's clever enough to get under my legs here, if I don't react, she can start to pressure the parts. Yeah, so if I get to here, and the earlier I can catch it, the easier. What I gotta do is bring my knee in to my face, wind my foot in. Bring my knee into my face and wind my foot in. But you don't have to wait until it's too late. As soon as Ruby reaches under, it's like, no, no. Go again. It's like, no, no. One at a time too. You never go both together. You'll end up just kicking your feet together. And as you can start to catch people with this too, as they reach under your legs, so Ruby's going for a scoop grip, if I can pummel my feet very cleverly and start to confuse you, Ruby goes again, and then all of a sudden, go again, I can start to catch triangles and stuff off it as well. This is just one example to use the pummeling, but the pummeling of the feet, the skill of that is something that you can always try and get more movement out of your hips and knees with it, and then find the timing and be very controlled with it. So firstly, our feet are winding, which is pretty simple. So if I go, we just go here, and our feet are winding into this fashion here. That's one part of it, the winding of the feet in both directions. More often than not, you wind inwards, but you can practice both directions and moving the hips side to side. But the other one that's a little overlooked is when I'm winding my feet, I can't just wind out here. I've got to pull my knee in as I do so. So it's actually this action, bringing your knees to your nose, which, you can feel that in your belly muscles straight away in your core. So your knees are coming in as you wind. That is what's important as well. So it's two movements, knees in and hips winding. You can also go to different levels of this, is where you start to practice it holding your hips. And then if you can practice as well without holding your hips, winding the legs. So pummeling the feet is one of those things when you're playing guard, is something when you play early, you have that early threat of someone passing, so boom, pummel the feet, pummel the feet, pummel the feet, pummel the feet. And then you can throw some counter attack straight off, probably a trap triangle or something like that. So pummeling is huge. The next one where someone's dragged your legs to your feet to one side of their body, so your 2 feet on one side of their body. Common one with this would be the guard pass called leg drag. So if Rubes just grabs my foot and drags to the side, 2 feet to the one side. If I don't react here, she's just going to put a weight on me and get side control. No good, right? So one easy one, once 2 legs to one side, my hips come up and I scissor my leg across and crossing my legs like this. Now this is looks like a weak guard, but it's Ruby comes forward, no problem. She goes left or right, my body just follows. The only way Rubes can go is backwards, and as soon as Rubes does, I've got the center line back and I'm ready to go again. So drag your leg to the other side, boom. See here? Now what you can't do is keep your hips flat because you'll lose the mobility. You've got to get your hips up as you do so. My leg goes to the side. So again, you can just practice this with someone who doesn't train jiu-jitsu. So we're here, get them to drag your legs to the side, and then hips up, and then over and getting this scissor position. If you don't have anyone to train with, you can practice it at home. And these, man, they're a great workout for the core, okay? So you're scissoring your legs side to side. Looks like, some of the students have said it looks like a vortex. So we're here, knees are in, your leg goes here, and you lift your hip up, here, 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 and so forth. And straight away, you'll be feeling that one in the core, which obviously, is great for you jiu-jitsu, building that strength while we're at home. So you've got now the pummeling and the scissoring. This is when, your guard there's a little bit of a threat of a pass, but you're reacting pretty quick. These ones, you could be using and straight off, throw out offense straight after it, and it's fine. We're getting a little bit further along now with like someone's passing your guard with a little bit more power, and they're getting a little bit closer to the guard pass. And this one's a hipscape. Now we all know hipscapes, or shrimp, whichever one you want to call it. You can do hipscapes by bridging and hipscape. You can do attacking hipscapes where you're going forward, chasing underneath somebody, or you can do a sliding hipscape sideways. So we're trying to move our hips away from our partner. So if Ruby passes my guard and I end up here and I'm just trying to get my knees in, it's very difficult. So she's established a guard pass. But if I move my feet to the side, notice how my foot isn't at my butt. I move it to the side, which gives me more room to move my hip out, which makes it very easy to get my guard back, and there is straight away counter attacks from here as well. So the sliding hipscape, sliding meaning sideways, is very important. So we're going to practice this one at home. You need to be able to move your foot out to the side. It's an outer rotation of your hip. Outer rotation of your hip. The more you can outer rotate your hip, the more pull you'll get on the hip, which will create more space. So see now where I'm hipscaping, I'm like, see how far out to the side my hips go? Or, see how far out my hips can go? So make sure when you're hipscaping, you're not just putting your foot here, because now they only move so far. Make sure your foot goes out for this style of hipscape. Boom. There's other forms of hipscape, but for this one, when you're trying to make space between you and your training partner or your opponent, you got to move your hips sideways, and the way to do that best is that here. So we've gone through pummeling the feet, scissoring, and hipscaping. The next one is learning to sit up. You need to be able to sit up very fast off the mat. You don't want to be playing on your back and having to use your abs to sit up. You'll get crushed. So let's say, when would I need to sit up fast? If Ruby's underpassing me, she passes around to the side. If I just stay here, she captures my head. Again, Ruby got 3 points, which is, as we know, that's a big score in jiu-jitsu. You don't want to be stuck under side control. Like, I can't remember the statistics off the top of my head, but when I was competing at Worlds, the statistics were, if you got your guard passed, it's 90% chance of losing the match. So, that's 9 out of 10 times that if your guard gets passed, you're done. It's definitely not over. We always talk about you can always get back in jiu-jitsu. You've always got the submission attack and so forth, so never give up. But you really want to avoid your guard being passed. So you need to have all of these movements. And the pendulum and the sitting up is important. Sitting up, but using your legs to help you sit up. So if I do this again and Ruby passes, and let's say I control a wrist or an elbow, she passes now. Now I use my legs to sit up high, get my head up nice and high. Now, Ruby's not on top anymore. There's a few angles we can go from here. Keep it simple, just hipscape and realign. So now I can get my guard back. But I can't do that by just relying on my core. If I just try and Ruby passes and I just try and sit up, like it's going to be too hard. She's going to put a weight on me. It's too hard. I'm done. You've got to use your legs to throw your head up high. So once again, Rubes passes and I use my legs to boom, sitting up. And I can move my hip and tack back or whatever. It depends on the situation. So the pendulum or sitting up is very important. So the way we practice that, knees in, foot up, and you kick. It's quite simple. Quite simple. But it is very important. This is one of the ones where until I started being a coach of all different age groups and all different body types, I didn't put all that much value on it. And now the more I coach and I see someone get their guard passed or I'm coaching in a tournament or whatever, I'm like, man, they got to work on sitting up with the pendulum. This is very much overlooked, I believe, a lot, but it's very, very important to be able to do this. So the basic movement is firstly you have to have a rounded back. If you've got a flat, straight back, you're stuck. Nothing, you won't be able to sit up. You've got to round your hips, sit up. Round your back, and sit up using that pendulum. And then you can just visualize someone passing your guard and you're like, oh, I'm getting stacked up, and sitting up. You can just do this in your room. You can do 50 of these. So if you've done the pummeling, especially the pummeling with your feet in the air, the scissoring, the hipscapes, the pendulum in your room just working out, you've already got jiu-jitsu skills, movement skills, and you've built strength, and you've also trained here. So even though we're in lockdown, there's no reason why you can't improve on jiu-jitsu or in anything. You've got to find the reasons to train. And if you want to just decide, you know what, I live the martial arts lifestyle. No matter what happens, I train. Doesn't matter if I'm away, doesn't matter if I'm, we're locked up in our houses. It doesn't matter. I find a reason and I find a way to do something to improve. And if you constantly improve every day in some small way, even if you're sick, you can always do something. Study some videos, watch one of these. Who knows? There's always something you can do. So just get out there and keep going. Every day, you're a martial artist now. Every day you've got to train. Do something. So we've done the pendulum. The next one's an inverting, right? So let's say Rubes is more of a guard pass threat. She's gotten closer to passing. The hipscape, pummeling, scissoring's not going to work. Rubes passes, I catch her on my forearms, just don't let her get on my chest. Go all the way out. So she's not on my chest. You don't want to let her get chest-to-chest contact. My knee comes in between my arms, and I revert, and I'm back to some form of attack. So you catch your partner, and you spin through. So Rubes, maybe just pass that at a different angle. Rubes passes around, I catch her on my arms, knee comes in between, and I roll back through, and I re-center line. Okay? So how do you practice this at home? Well, you might have someone you could train with. It wouldn't be hard. Ask mum or dad, brother, sister, doesn't matter. Or you can practice it by yourself as well. So the first part is bringing the knees in. The ability to be able to bring your knees to your shoulders in jiu-jitsu is absolutely massive. Now bring your foot up, over, touch the floor. Once you touch the floor, whatever side touches the floor, so my right side, I roll to that side and sit up. And I'm ready to go again. Because you don't have someone to grab, you just use your toe to anchor yourself on the mat. You roll back, touch your toe, I'll do my left this time, and then sitting back up. Once again, bring your knees in. So someone's passing, you're like visualizing coming around. Your imaginary friend. Catch them, knees in. Now normally you would use your partner to invert, but you've got nothing to leave your body off, so just use your toe. And sit up. Picture someone coming around. Catch them, knees in, touch, and sit up. So that's when your guard's getting really close. You're like, ooh, that's all you've got is just your forearms framing to stop your partner passing, just keeping that bit of distance. The final one is where your guard is a split second from being passed. This is commonly, not always, but commonly this is like your last line of defense. And it's turning to turtle, or turning to belly down, scissoring your legs. Some people call it back hoisting. You've got to turn down. But firstly, you've got to have your, more important than anything, you've got to keep your arms in. Don't get caught with your arms out. Once your arms are out and they've anchored their body on you, this is a problem. So what do I mean by arms in? If Ruby passes and my arms are caught out, this is a completely different way to escape. You've got to think of different things. If Ruby passes and my arms are in, okay, that's fine. Now, look, I get my back off the mat, so I turn into Ruby, maybe a little hip skate. I scissor my legs this way, or my preferred way is I keep one foot on the mat and I thread through. My elbows come into my body and I come up into this turtle position. Now I can throw an attack here. I might sit out to the side, come back to some form of seated guard. I haven't given up any points now. I haven't given up 3 points, so it's huge. So getting my back up off the mat. So let me show you again. Say Ruby, this side, so I'll turn towards the camera so it passes here. Yeah. Ruby passes, everything comes in. Yeah? Blocking the crossface, elbows in. If your head gets caught, don't turn into that and start cranking your own neck. Don't wear out your neck. Block it, keep your neck safe. Now you can thread the needle by keeping your foot on the floor, or you can just do a fast scissor. Now the secret to this though, see how my elbow's out here? It's hard to get up. Ruby's put all her weight on me. Look, I can't get up because my elbow's in the way. I have to tuck that in so my body can stay low. Then the knees down, now I can start attacking. Maybe even found a counter. Threading the needle, back hoisting, getting to turtle. It doesn't matter what term you use, but the important part is how to do it, right? So the biggest mistake people make is when they turn in, they're like, I can't get up because this elbow is out. This elbow's a lot of the time people get stuck here because that elbow's out. So your imaginary friend is passing around this way again. You're about to come and get on top and get smashed in side control. So everything comes in. Everything's nice and tight now. Scissor your legs. So there's one way you can do it the fast way, which is fine. Then your elbows come in and you're up into turtle. Or, I think, if I speak honestly, I think I use this one more in a live match, but you don't have to copy me, is where I'm here and I use this foot to post and I thread. And then I come up to turtle. Once again, I'll do the other side so I'm facing you guys again. Someone's passing around, imaginary friend, everything comes in. Just, if you can't even have that, you can always get this. So then, get on your side, elbows are in, scissor your legs with speed, or post and thread, come up to your knees. Basically in turtle, then you could sit back to your guard and start attacking again in some form. Being able to get your back up off the floor is a lot of the time it's your final line of defense. I've trained with some people who have got an awesome way to get to their knees and get to turtle, some of my old training partners, and it was so frustrating. Every time you thought you passed the guard, they turtle up, get to their knees, and then end up shooting, double legs and stuff on you. So you can't have, your jiu-jitsu at the best you can be without learning how to scissor your legs, threading the needle, back hoisting, it's all the same thing. And then you're going to get way more confident with your guard. So we've got quite a few we went through we went laying on our back, but these are the fundamental body movements you must have to be at your best with jiu-jitsu. The more I coach, the more I'm around all different body types and so many different people at training, and the more competitions, the more I see this. Once you understand these movements as well, you might, next time if your guard does get past, you'll be like, you know what, I was too late on scissoring my legs. Next time I'm going to get better at that. Or I tried to scissor my legs and you know what, I should have actually went to, back hoisting and getting to my knees, into turtle. and it'll make you way more aware of what's happening when you're playing off your back. Please practice these as much as you can at home. When you're practicing, make sure you haven't got, just something else going on in your head. Visualize in your mind those repetitions. Rep it out over and over again. For this whole week, we're in lockdown, or for however long it may be. This will greatly improve your ability to play guard off your back. Look forward to seeing you all soon, and cool. Keep training.